What's up, VC? Welcome back. This is Hub Tunes. I am Mike. Busy week, but I thought I'd get this. I thought I'd get this video done and get it out to you guys because it was a concert review that I went to the other night. I probably suckered you all in by the title of this video. 37 Grammy nominations, 20 wins, 7 consecutive years winning a Grammy, and 10 Grammy wins in 10 different categories. The only artist to ever do that. Did I get everyone's attention? Yep, I went to see Whitney Houston. No. I went to see Pat Metheny last night. I've seen Pat many times. The first probably back in the early 80s, maybe 1982, 81, at a place called Ravinia out in the far suburbs of Chicago. It's one of those little cheesy, bring your wine and cheese, sit on a lawn for, back then it was only $5. You could walk up day of the show and just give them $5 and sit on the lawn, and you'd never see the band, but you'd hear it, and it was what we did when we were in high school. We used to also see him at Symphony Center. That's usually where I see Pat. Most recently would be at Symphony Center downtown in Chicago. Beautiful place, obviously. It's where the Chicago Symphony plays. Beautiful place, great sound, very expensive. Tickets are usually like, 150, $140. So haven't seen him there for a while, and I've seen him at the Vic Theater here in Chicago a couple of times. Saw him there on the Secret Story tour, which was many years ago, and he was great there. But the other night I went to see him. He was at Thalia Hall here in Chicago, basically a rock venue. I've never seen anything there but rock performances. It's general admission, standing room only. They did put down some tables, or not tables, they did put a couple rows of chairs where I guess VIPs sat or something. I don't know. I wasn't one of them. So I had general admission, standing room. The place isn't big. There's not a bad spot in the whole place, so it was great. Vaccine card required, masks required, everybody was in compliance. Awesome, great crowd. You guys have heard me talk about this venue before. I've been seeing a lot of shows there. Unfortunately, it's not real close to my house. It took me an hour and 20 minutes of city driving to get to this show the other night, and then I had to find parking. It's just a pain in the butt to get to from where I live, but it's worth it. It's a great venue. So just wish it was closer to home. that's really all I wish. But anyway, so went to see Pat Metheny. If you guys know Pat, obviously I went through his amazing record of Grammy Awards, and I mean he's been around since 1970, I think 75 or 76, the first Pat Metheny Group album came out. It was groundbreaking. I don't think people had really ever heard anything like the first Pat Metheny Group record. They went on to make a string of records throughout the late 70s and early 80s. They're on ECM Records, which I just did a little video about ECM Records. You guys can check that out. Pat, I think some people think of Pat as more new age jazz. I don't know. I think he's just fusion. He does so many different things. I mean, you had the Pat Metheny Group. You have Pat Metheny solo. He's always got a trio or somebody that he's working with. He's always working with different people. He's worked with Jack DeJohnette and Charlie Hayden and just so many people over the years. The great Lyle Mays. What was I going to say? I don't know. Let's just get on with it. I'm just going to show a few albums. This is a Pat Metheny live in Chicago. This is a pretty cool record. It's one of those FM. It's a bootleg live in Chicago FM broadcast. This is a pretty old one. He does The First Circle, Last Train Home, Are You Going With Me? A lot of stuff from that era. It's pretty cool. It sounds great. it's just a FM bootleg. Nothing too special. This is one of the great jazz live albums. I absolutely love this record. This is Travels. It's the Pat Metheny group. Fantastic record. Absolutely. This thing will blow you away. This is the epitome of Pat Metheny live in concert. This is unreal. It's got Phase Dance, which was always one of my favorites. Are You Going With Me? The Fields, The Sky, Goodbye, Song for Bilbao. Great, great album. Highly, highly recommend this. If you're going to dig into his live repertoire, this is where you should start with Pat Metheny Group, Travels. And then his two most recent albums. This is Road to the Sun. This came out, first of all, awesome artwork. Isn't that great? This came out, I think, 2020. He's been pretty busy. He's had albums out, and I mean, he's always cranking out albums still to this day. Really cool artwork. I don't know. This isn't my favorite Pat Metheny record. It just didn't do too much for me when I first picked it up. I've listened to it again since the concert, and it's good. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't really kick my ass or anything. So, yeah, this was from 2020, I believe, Road to the Sun. And then his most recent. This is Pat Metheny and Side-Eye, New York City. This is recorded live with the same group that I saw him live with. This kicks my ass. This is great. And he basically did this album. They basically did this album live in concert. There were a couple other songs they filled in with, but yeah, this was it. He has, so onto the show. Let me grab my glasses. So he has a new trio, Side-Eye. It's a drummer and a keyboardist. James Francis is the organist, and what's his name? Oh, this says Marcus Gilmore on drums. That's not who played with me. That's not who was on drums when I saw him. The guy I saw was, I want to say his last name was Dyson. James Dyson, I believe his name was. I'll have to look that up. I'm pretty sure Marcus Gilmore was not on drums for the tour that I just saw the other night. But absolutely terrific drummer. I would have to say that, first of all, when you go see a Pat Metheny concert, you know what you're going to get with Pat. He's pretty straightforward, beautiful guitarist. He's got, I think he probably pulled out about 8 different guitars. He used pretty much the same one for most of the songs, but he's always switching guitars in the middle of songs and stuff to get different effects. If you guys, I'm sure you're all familiar with Pat Metheny. If you're not, I'll try and describe him. He's a musician's musician. His guitaring is spectacular. I mean, he is as sound as they get, technically. He likes to bring in different effects from his guitar. He has a harp guitar, which he played a lot. It gives it kind of like almost like an electric, almost like a keyboard sound, I think you could almost say. He pulled out that a little bit, but the show was really kind of straightforward. It was kind of a rock show. It was great. So Pat did his thing, and whenever I go see Pat, I always find myself concentrating more on the people he's surrounded himself with, like the drummer, and in this case, James Francis on keyboards. I used to watch, when I would go see him, I would watch Lyle Mays, who was an absolute genius. I would watch him the whole show, and Pat would be off on another ear. I just thought Lyle Mays was spectacular on keyboards and organ and piano. He was unbelievable. That being said, I hope that he continues to make music with James Francis. This guy is great. He played piano and like a little electric piano, and he was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I don't know how much of a composer he is. I believe there's one song on here that he composed with Pat that's an original, but I don't think he gets any. There's no other compositions that he worked on or arranged with Pat. In fact, Pat gets all music arranged and composed by Pat Metheny. So I hope they continue to work together. He was really, really good. And the drummer who I saw was, yeah, this guy's not the drummer I saw. Definitely not. The drummer I saw was really good too. He was a jazz drummer, and normally when you see Pat Metheny, a lot of times you'll see him with like a guy like, I don't know, Antonio Sanchez is a really good example of a guy who's I think is more of a rock drummer than a jazz drummer, and I think Pat sometimes surrounds himself more with the fusion-based drummer. This guy was a jazz drummer, and he was really, really good. There were some songs where I swear he only some of the more acoustic numbers he only played the cymbals. He had 6 cymbals, and he just all he did was play the cymbals. Just it was mind blowing. It was just so delicate, and this guy's touch was absolutely amazing. So this says it's volume 1. So maybe we're getting a volume 2. It would be pretty cool. They did pretty much this album. There were a couple songs. He did mix in a couple of older songs. He did a version of Are You Going With Me? And he did Bright Size Life. And then everything else came from this record, which I had no problem with. This is beautiful. And like I said, it rocks. The place was hopping. It felt really good in there. Yeah. So this is my little review of Pat Metheny and Side Eye. If you guys are checking him out on this tour, let me know. I highly, highly recommend it. It was probably one of the better times I've seen Pat Metheny. A lot of times when you see Pat, especially when he's touring with the group, it's a group of a lot of people, and there's a lot going on stage. You got a couple drummers, you got a bassist, you got a keyboardist, sometimes he has a horn player, and sometimes there's a lot to it, especially where usually when he does the Pat Metheny group, it's more towards the fusion side. This was more straightforward jazz, not bop, but more straightforward jazz, just being the trio. And it was really, really cool. I highly recommend going. I know he's got a little bit more on the U.S. tour, and then I think he's off to the U.K. and Europe. But I recommend him. Definitely go see it. And check out this record. I'm going to show it again. Check out this record. It's a good one. You can buy it direct from his site, which would be my option. I'm sure it's available on eBay, and Amazon might have it if you buy from Amazon. So yeah, check it out. Pat Metheny and Side Eye, his most recent album. Go check out his tour, continuing through. I think he's got another month. So check it out. And you guys, thanks again for watching and putting up with this, and subbing and liking and commenting. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.